Howdy do. So, should League of Legends balance around high elo or low elo? A question that has existed for many seasons, and I'm bringing this up because some people feel the chaos of the preseason is one of the best metas they've ever played in, and don't really want to see it change. But some people feel the game has been balanced around low elo, it's part of why the game's in such chaos, and some things that are powerful also take not a lot of skill to play, and that's a problem for some people. You see, the problem is if you balance for one or the other, there's definitely pros and there's also definitely cons. For example, if you balance around high elo, you take a champion like Jinx for example, because anytime I can bring up Jinx and plug her into a video, I'm going to. In high elo and pro play, you don't even really see her in pro play much anymore, if ever, but in high elo, her win rate right now in platinum and above is anywhere from 47 to maybe even as low as 45%, which is pretty bad and you would think would warrant a buff. But the problem with Jinx, and most AD carries in general for that matter, is you can't buff them too hard in that scenario, because in low elo, they would then just run over elos. Jinx in low elo right now, for example, does not have a 47% win rate. She actually has above 50, in some cases 52, and in one particular case even a 55% win rate. Because in low elo, they don't really know how to punish a champion's weaknesses as much, and the late game is more attainable for a lot of champions that need to scale. That's why things like Master Yi and such are also a headache down there. And so as such, if you balance for high elo, you definitely would make those champions more accessible, more meta, or at least more viable in higher elo and then in pro play. As someone that watches, the professional scene and likes seeing when Jinx is picked, I obviously wouldn't have too much of a problem with that. The problem is for low elo players though, those champions will just start stomping them. They get like a 60% win rate, and you see a bunch of hate threads on Reddit probably about those champions, and ultimately it's what and what. And I say what and what meaning, on one hand, you probably don't want to see a champion be that powerful in any elo, even if it's bronze or something, right? But on the other hand, some people feel like certain champions like Jinx, like Master Yi, like Teemo, Darius, Garen, Katarina, whatever, that's part of climbing the ladder though when you are that low on the ladder, is when you learn how to play against those champions, you understand their weaknesses so you can punish them a bit more, you obtain game knowledge, and as such overall just become a better player and you climb that way. So those champions should be a problem for you if you're that low on the ladder, and as such it should force you to learn to be a better player, and as such when you become a better player, if you get to platinum and higher, Jinx suddenly isn't that much of a problem for you, because she only has a 45% win rate up there. Because not just you, but also everybody up there with you knows just how to play against her as a whole collectively better than they do in bronze or even silver for that matter. Now the flip side of that coin is, if you balance for low elo though, doesn't that mean nothing will ever be out of control, ever? Like in low elo, those things would be balanced, so in high elo, those things might even be extremely weak, but at least that means nothing will be too overpowered or just too strong. Well, it depends, right? Because right now what we're seeing is certain champions that are strong or the most meta, for some people feel take no skill or just have so much in their kit that they can just out-sustain whatever is trying to attack them and get them right now. If you look at the AD carry role, for example, when they're meta and they're powerful, as long as assassins and divers are also powerful enough to deal with them, you kind of draft those things to try and take advantage of those weaknesses that some of those champions have, like immobility, right? Well, in the top lane, if you usually pick the same kind of champions to try and assassinate those kind of, carries or whatever, tanks even when they're still not tanky yet, before they can get to that point and shut them down early, well, if you can't do that right now, you can't take advantage of that weakness, well then it makes it really hard to play against certain champions like Ornn or Maokai or things like that. We'll make a top lane specific video later on too, but that's part of one of the reasons right now that maybe you don't bounce around low elo, because if you make everything really good at the lowest level and make nothing take a lot of skill expression and stuff, and then you keep making kits and champions that also don't seem to take a lot of skill expression to use, because something's either just super powerful and broken or it's whatever, you get a problem of, well, even if the casual player is satisfied at the highest level, maybe it won't be as entertaining, people won't watch the competitive scene even, and then what's kind of the point? It seems like the way you want to do it is find a balance, right? Because if you balance for high elo, the professional scene will probably thrive, there'll be a lot of variation in what gets picked, what champions get played, but who's really going to want to watch or not necessarily not watch, but play the game at that point, because they don't feel like a lot of things are, not broken. Like Jinxes and Yis and Garens and Katarinas and Dariuses, etc, etc. The flip side of the coin is, if everything's way too easy to play, the competitive scene might suffer, which means a lot of viewership there might also suffer, and you kind of have to find the balance of what's good for the casual player, that's still pretty good for the pro player, that would help in the pro scene in terms of viewership and stuff like that. Almost a trifecta even, because you can kind of separate high elo from pro play. Pro play. Let's pretend I know how to say words, okay? Yeah, let's do that. Anyway, my point is, that would be my answer, like an in-between elo balance. I wouldn't say like platinum per se, but I would say something that, you know, still challenges lower elo players to want to still play the game, but have to still get better at the game in some aspects, but still at the highest level be able to be something that people can still show off their skill, show why they are high elo, and not make the game too boring for them as well. So, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching this video this far if you did. In the comments, give your own opinion for that matter. This is a discussion video, so feel free to add your own opinion to the mix, but I don't know which video will be next, because life be quite a mess. So until next time, take care from the Fire Godai FS, and thank you for watching.